That's a bit misleading because most of the organisations based in the city centre have a city-wide remit. So that's kind of a little bit misleading. It does look as if the city centre got the bulk of it, but that's just because most of the city-wide organisations are based in the city centre. So that's done by area framework, apart from the city centre portion, and that gives you an idea of the main area of work of the organisations who took part. So once again, it was a broad spread of the voluntary community, as broad as we could get it. Training areas identified, once again, this is outlined in a little bit more depth in the report, so if anybody is interested, but it's broken down into sort of niche areas such as funding, governance, health and safety, ICT, law, personal development, professional qualifications, volunteering, and like basic awareness style training. The 10 most requested areas of funding surprised us a little. We thought the large, small-scale fundraising would have been right at the top of the pile, but there was a lot of people asking for training on attracting and recruiting volunteers, retention and reward, that type of stuff. So they were the top 10 areas of work which were identified, and I think we've pretty much delivered on all of those. Attracting and recruiting volunteers wasn't available in the city, so some in CBS and the Volunteer Centre, someone actually devised their own training programme, 2.5 introduction session. But most of those have actually been delivered. There was a lot of health and safety oriented training in there, which although seemed a bit surprising when you consider a lot of the organisations involved in the consultation with grassroots groups, a lot of them went coffee mornings and lunch clubs and that type of stuff, and obviously the way the law is going and the claim culture, more and more people realise that if they are so included in things like the food allergy and all that type of stuff. And obviously the training needs differ depending on which area framework you look at, ever so slightly. This was an interesting piece of work for us because it allows us to target our training courses more specifically to specific areas in the city. As you can see in the east, for example, the top 5 requested training is attracting and recruiting volunteers, being trustee, diversity and equality, large-scale fundraising, retaining volunteers. If you look at the central kind of area, it differs slightly. What that's allowed us to do is develop area-based mailing lists as part of our overall distribution list. Once again, it just allows us to sort of target our publicity a bit more effectively. Barriers, I'm not going to get into in any great deal, there probably isn't any surprises there, but the main barriers which came up, what I must mention is because we looked at so many voluntary community sector organisations, there was a good split who filled in the questionnaire between paid staff and volunteers, and there is a distinct difference in the barriers to participation with volunteers as there is for paid staff. The barriers for paid staff tend to be kind of institutional barriers, organisational barriers, so it's kind of organisational capacity, financial capacity, whether the manager will let them have the time of work. For volunteers, it was more personal barriers, it was things around care, childcare, transport, that type of thing. So I just need to mention that there is a slight difference in the barriers depending on which side of the fence you're on volunteering. There is some crossover, but typically there was that kind of difference there. So the main barriers were once again around financial capacity, organisations simply not having the money to allow the staff to do the training. I think the current funding climate we're in, that's more prevalent. There was a lot of issues around individual capacity. People physically didn't have the time to fit in anymore into the working week and were already overstretched. Organisational capacity was an issue. Many organisations simply can't afford to backfill posts to release people to do training. It's not such an issue with one-offs, half-day, one-day training, and if you look at the professional kind of development, degree courses, etc., then becomes a major issue for voluntary community sector organisations, and more often than not, the member of staff isn't allowed to do it because of the backfill issues. I mentioned earlier lack of awareness of training opportunities, lack of flexibility in delivery, and the bottom one is lack of locally delivered high specification technical training. A lot of people tended to feel that a lot of the high spec training was delivered in other parts of the country, London, or the furthest north it came was Leeds. So, it wasn't accessible for organisations in the North East. Ignore the first 6 months training delivery, all that, because I've got some up-to-date statistics which I'll give you at the end. I'm in the process of putting together the annual report. Once again, when that's finished, everybody's welcome to have a copy. But I'll give you where we're at after a year. We've delivered sessions, we've delivered 26 sessions and courses since January, and they range from level 2 accredited courses all the way down to kind of half-day introduction tasters. So really we've tried to cater for everyone, from the grassroots level groups all the way up to kind of the bigger organisations within the city. The level 2 accredited stuff, we've done some diversity and equality. We've done the community legal learning programme, level 2, formerly the paralegal, we can't call it that anymore. We did a bookkeeping course called Balancing the Books, and we've run 2 face painting courses, and we're currently in the process of running a community legal learning community learning reps course. I'm saying we've delivered, CBS don't technically deliver it, we act more as a broker to bring the training in the city. So we rely on partners to do the bulk of the delivery for us. And once again, this just gives you a taste of some of the full and half-day sessions we've delivered over the past 10 months. Things around governance, first aid, disability awareness, manual handling, refugee, asylum seeker awareness, monitoring and reporting, drug awareness, health and safety at work, basic food hygiene, enterprise and fire safety. But once again, all of these were actually requested. Oddly enough, no, they weren't all requested. The service level agreements and procurement wasn't requested, believe it or not, by anyone out of the 133 questionnaires we got back. So we just took a risk and put that one anyway, and it was well attended. I think we had 12 signed up for that. Achievements, right. Once again, this has changed somewhat since I did the presentation. So I'll give you some more information on that in the end. Once again, you know, as I mentioned, we do work with a broad range of partners. We couldn't deliver the project on our own, and that just gives you a flavour of some of the partners we've worked with, are continuing to work with, to obviously keep the project rolling on. Volunteer Centre Sunderland, City of Sunderland, it's probably a couple of different directorates we work with. We work with Community Cultural Services, we work with, it used to be Social Services, but it's not anymore, and I can't remember the 2 things in place that we do. But we do work with several departments of the city. Sunderland Community Business Centre, Neckar Ford, City of Sunderland College, Bridge Project, Bridges to Learning, Northern Refugee Service, Head of Development Trust, Karen Marriage and the People in Enterprise. That gives you a bit of a flavour of partners we work with to deliver the project. Future plans, this is sort of out of date from when I did the presentation. The autumn programme has been advertised, and some of the sessions have gone ahead, but some of them have had to be cancelled due to lack of interest. And I tend to think it's maybe time, and I think maybe people are trained out. I think there's been that much this year. I think that might be a little bit sick even about it, to be honest. I will be undertaking another training needs analysis probably back into November through January 2008. It will be an annual thing, the skills audit, the training needs audit, and that will form the basis for the plan for the following 12 months and what we actually deliver. I'm also at the moment looking at developing a programme from January to June. Once again, that may change depending on the results of the training needs audit we get back in early 2008. Investigate continuation funding options. I think everybody knows how difficult that is, but you know, we need to look. And obviously ongoing development of information networks, etc. I think most people in this room are part of my electronic mailing list, so they'll probably get information on a regular basis. So really, as I mentioned at the start, the project has been going a year, and I just quickly jotted down a couple of statistics really on what the project's actually achieved over the past year. Well, 10 months. We've delivered 26 sessions and courses to 185 beneficiaries. 71 organisations have benefited from the training, and 52 of those are actually voluntary community sector organisations from within the City of Sunderland. We've delivered 1,606 training hours, which is roughly 53.53 training weeks. And we've helped to the attainment of 57 level 2 qualifications. So I suppose the best way to sum up the project is, since January, the sector in the city now has all that additional experience. It has 1,500 extra hours of training, has 57 extra qualifications, etc., etc. And that's it. I'll be quiet now, and I will hang about, so if anybody does have questions when the question and answer session comes on board, by all means, feel free to